Hi, Cancer, Cancer moons, Cancer risings, all you Cancers, okay? This is your 2019 year in advance oracle reading. If you aren't familiar with the way that I read, I shuffle the deck before I start recording, and then I cut the deck in front of you. So let's go ahead and get this deck cut for you guys. While I try to decide where it should be cut, I think right there. So this is for Cancer, right? If you're a Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, you're going to want to watch this. But also, if your spouse or your partner is a Cancer, your children are a Cancer, your best friend is Cancer, you might want to watch it too, just to kind of get an idea of what's going to go on for them also, okay? So, I'm cutting the deck. Because this is for all Cancers, it's going to be very general. If a lot of it might like perfectly match what your plans for the year, some of it might be way off because it might not be specific and specified for you, right? I almost got tongue-tied there. In that case, if you really like this reading, but you want it more generalized or more to you, to your particular needs, to your particular life, you're going to want to get a year in advance or just a question reading for you, not for Cancer in general, okay? So how I'm going to do this 2019 is I'm going to pull 4 cards and place them on the top. This is January, February, March, and April. So here we have your first trimester of 2019, right? Then May, June, July, and August, okay? I'm going to make this all nice and straight again. I'm just pulling from the top of the deck. September, October, November, and December. Okay, so here, Cancer, is your 2019 year in advance reading, all right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull each card for the month and explain it to you. So that way you can kind of have an idea. You can have an idea of what's going to be going down for 2019. Okay, so I don't want to give you guys a glare in your images, so I'm going to move the cards over just a little bit so that way I can bring it over to right here, each card that we're reading. Okay, so here we have January 2019. Cancer. Your key word for this card for January is purification. So what cleanses? Water cleanses, right? When we're thinking about something very large, like your car, what do? You spray your car, usually with like a hose, or you go to a car wash that sprays your car. If we start kind of jumping, right? Rain is like somebody from the atmosphere spraying us, right? So this card's image looks really gloomy, doesn't it? It looks depressing. It looks sad. Unless you're one of the people who loves rain, then it's like, oh, it's beautiful, Maria. What are you talking about? But I want you to take a look at this image, okay? Let's look past the gloomy. Let's look past the fog and all of the grayness and see what's really going on. Most things on Earth cannot live without water. And we see that happening right here. Right? We've got what looks to be a pretty much dead tree. Do you see that? I'm trying to cover up the leaves right there. It looks dead. It might be winter time and it just doesn't have any leaves going on, but it kind of looks dead. And then we start seeing leaves that aren't just budding, they're growing. We have this tree over here that's got leaves. The further we go across the card, we're starting to get some flowers. We have more leaves right here. We have moss here. We've got a lot of stuff that's beginning to grow because it's getting life from the water, right? So this card is telling me 2018, December maybe especially, was a very, very rough month for you guys. It was very difficult for you. It felt like you were dead coming from the tree over here. But as January progresses, you start coming into more life. Now, it's very possible that this is kind of like showing you the cycle of the seasons. December is wintertime. There's a lot of snow. Some places start to kind of have slushy, melty snow in January. Some places are still like worse snow than December. But what happens when the snow melts? We have water, right? Because snow is really just frozen water. I'm thinking a snow cone. Sorry, I'm thinking about a snow cone. So January is going to be a time where you're going to have to start growing quite a lot, okay? And it's going to be like, it's just so gross around me. I'm so depressed. Everything is just yucky. I don't know why it's yucky. It's a new year. We should be getting better. The thing is, you need to get through that yucky. You need to purify that yucky. A lot of emotions, you need to actually look at those emotions and decide why are you feeling those and understand them so that way you can let go of them. You can purify them. And then you'll be able to start growing again. You'll be able to start budding and all of the pretty stuff, right? Okay, so I'm going to put this right here for just a second. Let's say we had a December card right here. You see here is where it's kind of really dead. And January is showing us a little bit of growth, And here we have some flowers into February. Let's see what February says. February is celebration. All right. So this woman is dancing. Why is she dancing? Probably because she got through January. She got through 2018, right? 2018 was a very difficult year for a lot of people. But if you can look at it with a different perspective, I'm 99.9% sure it brought in a lot of growth. January, you purified yourself, you cleansed yourself, you were able to let 2018 go, realize the growth that you had, that those icky feelings brought, understand those icky feelings, and now you're able to celebrate them. Now you're able to dance through them. Now, I know some of you are going to be going, but I can understand it, but I still can't celebrate it. It's still gross. Sometimes, even though we understand what it is, and we still can celebrate it, we still have the right to say, you know what, it was gross. I really wish I didn't have to do that. And that's totally fine. But it's also your perspective on whether or not you're going to continue to see it as something that was gross and icky and horrible and a bad time, or whether you're going to say, you know what, I'm through that, so I'm going to celebrate that. It was a gross time, but it brought a lot of learning. I'm going to celebrate that. You have the choice to choose, right? You have the choice on how you're going to perceive things. You have the choice on how you choose to understand things. If you want to still say it was bad, then you're going to say it's bad and nothing anybody does can change your mind. But if you choose to say it was good, then celebrate that. Okay? And I would really prefer you celebrate. Because life is short. Celebrate, right? March. Blessings. Okay, so look at this. You had a time of understanding, of purifying, of cleansing. Then you chose to be happy about everything that you've gone through, right? Now here are your blessings. If you chose to not celebrate, though, your blessings are going to be seen through different eyes, through different colors. Okay, and I want to show you this. I'm going to pick up this card so that way I can explain it. Down here in this blessing card, look at how gray it is. Look at how much it looks like storms are coming, right? More rain, more gloomy weather, more fog, more yuck, right? But if we choose to understand that this brings the rainbow, if we choose to change our perception and say sometimes a lot of rain showers will bring rainbows, sometimes a lot of rain showers will bring growth, right? We're choosing to see the good things, and we've got the glare. I'm going to bring it back over here. We are choosing to see the good things. We're choosing to look at the rainbow instead of the rain clouds. Do you see what I'm saying, Cancer? 2018 really took you through the ringer, right? You want 2019 to be better. The only way 2019 can be better is if you let go of 2018 You acknowledge it was a rough year. You acknowledge you grew, and you see the blessings for what the blessings are instead of looking at the rain. Okay? All right. So that's a lot of what you're going to be focusing on in March. Making sure you see the good things instead of the bad things. April. Nurturing is your keyword for April. Okay. So we've been talking about rain and blessings and rain and growth and rain, right? This is what your cards have been telling you so far. Rain is water. Water is associated with emotions. Your blessings card from March has to do with the way you understand, right? The way you see things, the way you perceive the emotions around you, the way you perceive the things around you. February's dance and celebration card also had to do with how are you going to perceive what's going on. So, in April, how are you nurturing yourself? Because you've been pretty rough on yourself. How are you taking care of yourself? How are you comforting yourself? How are you self-loving? All right? Now take a look at how abundant this earth is, this image of earth. The rain showers that I've been saying are going to bring growth. Look at how much growth is here. This Mother Earth here, Gaia, she knows rain is needed. Look at how she's breathing clouds of, I'm going to say life. She has the breath of life, doesn't she? She knows that rain and water is needed along with sunshine to create growth. If we look up in here, this is very reminiscent. Even though they're flowers, it's very like sun-like, right? Very sunshiny. Also in here, we have the same idea. But up here, it looks kind of rain-like, doesn't it? Especially right here, now that I'm looking at it. This looks like storms are on the horizon. And we've got a lot of water right here, too. Do you see this? Mother Earth, in her creating, uses everything to create. Okay, so I want to bring your attention to a few things. A forest fire. We see a forest fire as, look at how much damage that has caused. Look at how this forest has been destroyed. But fires will take out all of the old growth. It puts in new nutrients into the soil. And within a year or two, we'll have saplings, naturally created saplings in this place where there's a forest fire. Mother Earth uses what we would say is destruction in order to cause growth. So, for your first trimester of the year, you have the ability, and it's your choice, to see everything that's happening around you and to you as either destruction or making way for growth. You can either sit down and decide it's horrible and be depressed about it, or you can celebrate the removal of all of this stuff so that way you have a place to grow new things. Do you see what I'm saying? You choose the way you're going to see your blessings. Either you're going to suffer through them or you're going to accept them and be happy about them. All right, Cancer? May. I'm going to pull it over here. Harmony. Now, really like how after your first trimester of the year, you being in charge of your perception and the way you see things happening, your keyword for May is harmony. Let's take a look at these women. Once I thought these were angels, but let's take a look at these women. They are in very bright clothing. She's got this extra little piece of clothing on that's dark, but it's still bright. Look at how much flowers are in this piece of clothing. We have lots of yellow, lots of green, sunshine and growth. We have doves around, right? Do you see that? These doves. Doves are signifying spiritual growth, spirituality. We've got plants growing, trees growing. Everything is just an absolute growth here. Do you see this? And even though these women facially look like they're stressed, like their mind is occupied in other places, we can assume that they haven't let the music stop. They know their music so well that even when their mind is off in other places, they're still performing. They're still doing what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, they're still creating harmony and celebration. And what do you think these women are playing music for? Are they playing music for a politician, a king, a queen? Are they playing music at a wedding, maybe at a birthday? How are they celebrating? How are they in a place that they are assisting to celebrate? Even though it doesn't look like they're happy, they're probably helping celebrate in one way or another. Okay? Which means, Cancer, in May, you might not still be happy. You might still be thinking about all of the things that are going on in your life. But you have, again, the choice. Are you going to continue creating music and help celebrate, help other people in your world celebrate? Or are you going to become depressed and, I don't want to say ruin it for everybody else, but make everybody else feel sad too? What do you want to do, Cancer? June. Lightning. And the key word is power. So how I was just talking with the nurturing card, right? That sometimes forest fires are really, really needed. And you know, we think of forest fires as something horrible, but parks and recreations and forest rangers, they create controlled fires because they need to get rid of the old growth in order to let new growth happen, okay? So, again, it's a whole perception thing. What we consider dangerous natural disasters are only because they're not controlled. And this card, power, right? We have probably close to a hurricane happening. Emotions, the water, are just out of control. There's electrical currents, the lightning. Wind is blowing and threatening to maybe pull out these palm trees. It is just absolute power, right? And again, we will go, oh my God, this is so horrible. It's such a disaster. It's so dangerous. Right? We kind of freak out when we see a storm like this. There's some of us that will actually enjoy watching the display of power, watching Mother Earth show us just how strong she is. Okay, so now Cancer. Again, another perception card. Are you going to see your power, your strength, as something dangerous? Something that hurts and destroys? Or do you want to see your strength and power as something beneficial? Something that gets rid of what's no longer needed so that way new growth can happen. Okay, so this is your June card. And I want to take a moment and just show you this again, because I already see your theme for 2019. Do you see this? We need to, or you need, to really pay attention to your perception. Really pay attention to how other people see you reacting, to how other people see you perceiving. Because your perception, Cancer, you are a very family-oriented zodiac, right? You are really happy being close to other people. So when something is going on with you, you're confused, you're upset, you're depressed, you're having difficulty coping with the things that are going on. And I don't mean this negative, so don't, because everybody has these things, okay? It's not anything negative towards you if this is something that you're going through. But because this is something you're going through, everyone around you is kind of forced to go through it also. So if you can see, you know what, I really don't like these things that are happening, but I choose to celebrate, right? I choose to nurture myself. I choose to see how these things are blessings to me. The people around you also are doing that. So Cancer, you're very about family, like how I said. Is this something you want your children to watch? something you want your children to grow up realizing, I am strong. My perception and the way I react to the things, the situations happening around me, is how I see my blessings. I can either get really depressed and go, nothing works my way, or I can say, I have the power to see this in a different way, which means I also have the power to begin changing. Okay? So I said I can see your theme. Your theme is your perception, Cancer. How are you understanding things and how are you reacting to them? All right? So, July. Completion, the full moon. Okay, if you know anything about, I'm going to go kind of woo-woo. If you know anything about moon magic or the cycles of the moon and how they can work with like your abundance and how they work with your manifestation and all of your affirmations and all of this wonderful spiritual stuff, right? You know that the full moon is usually when everything ends. The moon has reached its point of absolute growth, and then it will start to like shrink back down to nothing, right? So, in July, it says you've reached your point of absolute growth. Where you're at in July, if you've chosen to change your perceptions, you've set a new habit. If you haven't, then you're not going to for the rest of the year. All right? So, in July, what happens in July is pretty much going to be the same way you think, the same way you act, the same way you react for the rest of the year. Okay? And this is kind of an eye-opener for you. Do you want to continue reacting the same way you did throughout all of 2018? Or do you want to change that and react in another way? By July, your habit has been set. Okay? Let's see what August has to say. August is promise, and I want you to take a look at that moon. We went from the full moon, right, throughout the 2-week cycle to almost new moon. If we're looking at this picture and we say this picture is today, tomorrow is most likely the new moon. Do you see this? So, in July, I said, working with the moon phases, you've reached absolute growth. The next little while is going to be reaching, shrinking it. Take a look at the couple. The couple is extremely happy. Take a look at the sky. There is no signs of storms, right? It looks actually like the storms are starting to break or have broken up and are going away. The water is a little choppy, but we can still say it's kind of calm. There's no real sign of any storms in that water, right? Take a look at your June card, how that water was compared to how the water is now. Do you see this? Your card for August, for August, is promise. If you were able to get through 2018 and the first part of 2019, where you're kind of like trying to bury 2018, you're trying to react differently, you're trying to understand things differently, and you were able to do it in July, right? The full moon, the completion. Your year's going to be easier, much easier from August on. If, however, you weren't able to change, and I don't mean like you have to do 100% drastic change, just reacting differently after 5 minutes of reacting the same, that is a change, okay? If your reaction takes a little bit to kick in, but it still kicks in and it's a different reaction than last year, that is a change. So, your second semester is trying to remind you to be at peace, to know that you have the power to understand your reaction, and to try to kick in that little last bit to make sure that the new that you've been putting into habit is fully, totally habit now, okay? Now let's start with September. Emergence. Okay, I'm going to call this Mother Earth again. And the reason I'm calling her Mother Earth again is one, because she looks very, very Mother Earthy. But remember where we had Mother Earth right here? Take a look at that. It just looks like she changed her hair. Right? And from April to September, I think that's okay. She could change her hair, don't you? Okay, so I'm going to put this card back over here. And let's look at emergence. So, this female figure is coming out of water. And it looks like water up here, but this is, I can't say the word. Tongue-tied. Lotus flowers. Lotus flowers grow in mud. Nothing else likes to grow in mud. Lotus flowers are able to grow where pretty much nothing else grows. Which pretty much is saying that you can trudge through the shit. And you can become growth and abundance and beautiful. The lotus flower is also associated with spirituality. Okay? So, your spirituality. Now, I don't mean religion. I mean spirituality. The way you connect with your God. The way you connect with the universe, with angels, with spirits, with ancestors, whatever the case may be. Your spirituality has been able to grow since the beginning of the year. The woman, again, is coming out of what looks like water, right? She's coming out of being trapped within her own emotions. At one time, her emotions kept her controlled, kept her trapped. She's learned how to not let that happen anymore. So now she can be released from that, right? Take a look at her hair and at her, should we call it a crown? It's growth. It's vines. There's little flowers on it. She's got dragonflies all around her. Dragonflies are also connected to spirituality, to spiritual growth. So, I don't want to go into what you believe, but if you believe in enlightenment, this card is telling you throughout 2019, you're becoming more enlightened than you were in 2018. Okay? So that's kind of a nice card to have after this year that keeps reminding you to change the way you're thinking. Here we have October. Let's see what we've got for October. Movement. Now you're looking at this card going, I don't see any movement. Well, maybe the water, right? Let's take a look. The water is moving, probably downstream, which means emotions, water emotions, are being released, are being let go and allowed to flow to where they need to be flowing to. We can't see any amount of serious wind, especially like the wind that we were seeing in this card, right? But that doesn't mean there isn't any wind. There might be a really cool calming breeze. Do you see what I'm saying? Just because we don't see things happening doesn't mean they're not happening. Just because we don't see things moving doesn't mean they're not moving. Your reading thus far has shown a lot of movement within your emotions and your thoughts. Okay? So October is saying it's probably going to be really calm this month. And you're going to get probably into the middle of the month and go, what the heck? Why is it calm? What's coming? It might not be anything coming. It might just be you can now this is the way you are without noticing this is the way you are anymore. Okay, and that's a great sign of growth. November. Effortless and another waterfall. Love this. What if this river, right, is up in the mountains higher than these mountains? Do you see this? And now, how I said it's being let go, it's allowed to flow. It's totally being let go. It's an effortless. Remember I said now you're not, you don't realize your habit now. You don't realize you have to change the way you're thinking because it's habit now. It's effortless. And the emotions that used to freak you out can now move. You can let them flow. You can let them go. You don't have to freak out. You don't have to relax. You don't have to be constantly going, okay, is this the way I'm supposed to react? This is the way do you see what I'm saying? So let's see what's going on along with the water flowing effortlessly away from you, or however it needs to be going. We have beautiful trees, right? We've got rocks that have different mosses growing on them. Now I want you to see, when we see mountains, it usually means there's a bit of an uphill struggle. But how is this water going? It's going downhill. There's no struggle anymore. It's truly effortless. Okay? So, let me show you one more thing that's interesting in my opinion. We had March, right? Blessings. We had July, the full moon, completion. Hopefully you were able to get to a point by July where you were creating your habits. And your habits were now working on their own, right? In November, one right after the other, it's effortless. All of what I've been telling you, you need to be changing, the way you have to change your perception, the way you react. It's now effortless because it's already become habit. Because you don't look at the rainstorm anymore. You find the clouds or you find the rainbow. Do you see this? Isn't that exciting? I think it's exciting. I'm excited for you. Okay, December. Okay. Vitality and a volcano. Now, compared to how we were looking at like being calm and everything looked calm, you've had a couple of times where we need to remember your strength. We need to remember, and you need to remember, not me, you. You need to remember how strong you are. You need to remember how you choose to see things, right? So, with this volcano being in December, the end of the year, I have kind of a feeling that you're going to kind of lose your cool. You're going to explode like a volcano, right? But just because something really does upset you, because, okay, so you've gotten to a point where you understand your emotions, right? So if something's upset you, it's perfectly fine to say, you know what, this is upsetting me. I'm going to react. You don't have to stay calm and be a doormat. You can let people see that you are powerful and you're not standing for this crap anymore, right? You have the ability to say something else. Somebody's spirits just yelled at me. Volcano doesn't also mean anger. Volcano is passion. Volcano is lust. Okay? So where we've been saying you need to control your emotions, unless lust has gotten you in trouble, unless passion has gotten you in trouble before, that's not one of the things you need to control. Do not become frigid. Do not become cold. Do not let go of the things that give you passion because you think that this reading has been telling you to stay calm, because it's not. It's telling you to be calm, to see the way you react to things, to understand that things that are happening to you are probably happening for a reason. But that does not mean become a doormat. That does not mean become loveless, become sexless. Because this love and sex is part of life, okay? And the reason I'm calling on love and sex a lot is because we've got this image here in the clouds. Can you see this in the smoke? There are people here, and it looks like they are in a passionate embrace, okay? So this is one of the things that the spirit just yelled at me. You have the right to say, I'm not standing for this. You have the right to say, I want romance. I want passion. I want lust. I want sex. Sex, without sex, we have very little growth, right? Even trees, plants, flowers, they have a form of sex. Bees are one of the forms of sex. They move some, I'm going to say DNA, from one aspect and move it to another one, right? So it might not be two people coming together sex, but it's still two things coming together, okay? So, for your 2019 year, you need to pay attention to the way you perceive things. You can either become upset, angry, or depressed, or you can say, you know what, I can see where this is going to help me become stronger. I can see how this is going to be a blessing later in life, later in the year, whatever. That does not mean you can be, or you should be, a doormat. It doesn't mean you should become cold and frigid. It means you understand your feelings. You understand the way you react. Okay? You understand that your reactions are being seen by your family members. All right? Now, your life in your 2019, right? Not necessarily your life, but your 2019 has got some up and downs. These up and downs are going to help you grow, help you enlighten, help you become. Okay? They're going to help you understand your power, not lock it up. You still have the right to use it. You still have the right to be angry, but you're going to become more harmonious. You're going to become more nurturing because you choose to see your celebration. You choose to dance. You choose to see the celebration. You choose to see that sometimes what looks like the storm is actually clearing the way for you to have more. Okay? All right. 2019. Now, Cancer. If you loved this reading, please subscribe to the channel so that way you know whenever there's a reading or a video up. Hit like and all of that kind of fun stuff. If you want your own reading, particularly to you and not your whole sign, follow the information down below, and it'll take you to the website. It'll tell you how you can get in contact with me so that way you can get your own reading. Okay? If you know a Cancer that you think this video would benefit them, or you know another zodiac sign and you want them to see what's in store for them, share, please. Okay? Thank you so much. 2019 is going to be very beneficial for you. Love you. Bye.